29 years ago, Dave Stewart and Frank Dorson approached me to help them with a new Mattamy project called Milton. Soon it became evident to me that Stewart had assembled an outstanding bunch of young engineers and planners. Particularly, one young planner assigned to the Mattamy Milton project to work with me stood out. His name was Gary Gregoris.
Gary Gregoris was a friend of mine. We met as hockey dads.
It was my distinct honor to work closely with Gary for some 30 years and to call him my friend.
I'm delighted to be given the opportunity to say a few words about Gary. I still recall the day when I answered the phone and Gary was on the other end, and he said to me, "Lynn, what does your schedule look like for the next few weeks, months, and years?" It did fundamentally change my life. That opened the door to working with Gary for many years. We were a wonderful team. We taught each other a lot, and it was a pleasure to all be together. And we were supported by a terrific team at Mattamy as well.
Gary Gregoris, industry legend. Gary, this is Remington's boardroom. I don't know how many meetings we had in here, landowner groups, cost sharing, you name it. I personally had the pleasure of working with Gary for almost 20 years through our day-to-day work, as well as our time at BILD. Gary was a consummate professional, respected by those that worked with him, and he built many incredible professional relationships at the municipal, regional, and provincial levels of government.
I remember the first time I met Gary. I was sitting in a boardroom at the town of Oakville in about, I want to say 2007 or 2008, and I was working at the town, and Gary came in. We were having a meeting with respect to North Oakville. And I remember being so incredibly impressed by his knowledge and his capacity to remember the minutiae of details with respect to all of the agreements pertaining to North Oakville. Fast forward several years later, when I was in private practice and doing some work with Gary, that institutional knowledge on every file that he was working at was something that always impressed me. You could never get anything past Gary because he knew every last detail with respect to every last file. And certainly it's that institutional knowledge in this business that we miss a lot.
Gary Gregoris, my fellow policy wonk, who loved this maddening, challenging, and ever-evolving industry, who gave of his time to a fault to anyone who would ask, and who could code switch faster than anyone I knew. From an expletive-laced rant about the injustices of the day to an eloquent and gracious advocate.
With passion, intelligence, and tenacity, Gary challenged us all to reconsider, to be open-minded, to be collaborative, and to find solutions. Countless stories are told of Gary's sage advice and his incredible willingness to talk it out. He was not one to back down, yet there was always mutual respect and always time for a laugh or two.
To Gary, debate was an art form. He knew his stuff and he tested your mettle every single time, whether it was a solution to craft or a problem to solve. But Gary remained always fully human and compassionate, no more so than when talking about his wife Lori or his boys.
On a personal note, Gary was, while he took business very seriously, he always had a smile. He always had a laugh, and was really a true community builder. He was not always in it to get the most density out of the land, but rather to ensure that any project he was working on was contributing to the community. And so in that, I always think of him as being a land use planner first. He was always keen to ensure that communities and not just developments were being built. And certainly we miss that very much.
Gary was fair-minded and fun-loving. He never forgot what it was all about. I liked Gary instantly. When life made me a mayor, our relationship didn't change. Gary could listen. Gary could make me think. Gary thought engage and expand is the approach to life that works best, just like I do. Are you sure you're looking at it from both sides? Gary would ask.
There are lessons in Gary's life that we all should remember. First of all, respect everyone, regardless of what position they bring to the table in a land use planning matter or in a development matter. The second lesson is be collaborative. Try and find a solution that works for everybody if you can. Don't take the path of least resistance. Take the path where you can build bridges amongst people. And lastly, remember to laugh. Gary had a very infectious laugh, and it kept all of us going in the times that were pretty difficult.
Gary had the unique ability to take troublesome planning issues and the associated bureaucrats, turn their ideas around and make those antagonists believe the solutions were theirs. 25,000 homes built, and later, much of Mattami's success directly attributable to Gary's talent. I rest my case.
I thought Gary always left room for tomorrow. I hope, like Gary, we always leave room for tomorrow. Gary made me think that together we can create the future that we all need and want. Thank you, Gary, for our friendship.
Gary, it was a wild and crazy ride, and it was my true delight and honor to be on that ride with you. Miss you always. Here's to you.
So Gary, while the sun may have set on your life, you still remain very much here with us in spirit. Your friends, your family, and your business associates.
Gary and I established a strong personal relationship over those 25 plus years. He left us way too early. He was a brother. I loved him and I miss him. I want to thank BILD for honoring Gary this evening, and thank his friend Jason Sheldon for submitting Gary's nomination.
Gary was a leader in our industry, a deeply respected colleague, a friend to us all. I cannot count how many times Gary's name and/or one of his many quotables comes up in a meeting today. A true testament to who he was. We miss you deeply, Gary.